Hello everyone. Honey Web here. Sorry that it's taken so long to get another video out. I've been very busy with school and studying for exams. However, I'm back for a little bit. Anyways, I decided to make this video since I've been very excited about this show since they started announcing trainees at the end of 2022. I'm a big survival show enthusiast, so shows like Boys Planet are right up my alley. This video is heavily inspired by Sariku's video on Boys Planet, so if you haven't seen that one, go check it out. In this video, I'll be sharing my overall opinions on the show, from its format and editing, to the enjoyability of each episode, and who I think who will make the debut lineup. I'll also be sharing some of my favorite trainees at the end, so stay tuned. Remember, this video is merely my opinion and it's okay to disagree with what I say. Please be kind. Anyways, let's get on with the video now. While I'm sure most of the viewers understand the general premise of Boys Planet, I'm going to briefly explain it so that you can understand what I'm about to discuss. Firstly, the show separates the trainees into two groups, K and G. There's one group for Korean trainees, the K group, and one group for foreign trainees, the G group. The show pits the two groups against one another in the early episodes of the show for point benefits. The groups also compete against one another for song evaluation competitions, in which one group of K trainees and one group of G trainees will select the same song and perform it. The style of the show thus far is very similar to the Produce franchise, as Produce would often pit trainees together to perform the same song, and Produce operated on a grading system. In the earlier episodes, trainees would be evaluated based upon skill level and given a letter ranking. A would be the highest ranking, and F would be the lowest. The higher your rank, the more benefits you experience. As many individuals argue on social media, the Boys Planet franchise is essentially just Produce in a wig, with the only real difference being the creation of a K and G group. Otherwise, the trainees are doing the same challenges, the same PR videos, and being evaluated in the exact same manner as Produce. However, Boys Planet is vastly different than Girls Planet, which makes me slightly relieved, but also saddened in a way. For those of you unfamiliar with Girls Planet's format, Girls Planet was the predecessor to Boys Planet and consisted of three groups, the K group, the C group, and the J group. The show had Chinese, Japanese, and Korean trainees essentially. The biggest difference between this show with past Produce seasons is that the trainees were grouped into cells, a group of trainees that you could vote for that had one Chinese trainee, one Japanese trainee, and one Korean trainee. Many fans, including me, disliked the concept of the cell as it often ended up harming trainees more so than helping them. Trainees who had garnered a decent amount of support to establish a decent one-pick following were eliminated within a few weeks because their cell couldn't keep the same support, and oftentimes people were restricted with who they could vote for since they could vote for a set amount of Chinese, Japanese, and Korean trainees/cells. Ultimately, I believe that this new aspect made Girls Planet less enjoyable, but it makes me upset that Net essentially used this gimmick on Girls Planet to test if it would work on other seasons. It just feels very unfair to the trainees and everyone involved in the show, as the foreign trainees were often evil edited by Net in addition to this. However, one similarity between Girls Planet and Boys Planet is that Net pits the groups against one another, which again, I find highly unnecessary. If the whole point of both shows is to form a group, how are the group members supposed to get along if they've been pit against one another constantly? Additionally, another complaint I've seen about Boys Planet is the editing. After Net got busted for rigging their past group's votes, it's obvious that Net attempts to push certain trainees by giving them more screen time. While this has always been a thing to push trainees in survival shows, it feels worse in this series since there really isn't any other way for Net to get their ideal lineup. I do feel frustrated with this situation at times, because I wish that more of the trainees were shown, but I understand that Net also does this to create more drama and entertainment value. I also forgot to touch on this earlier when I mentioned evil editing, but Net and K-netizens in general have a tendency to treat the foreign trainees poorly. When it came to voting for the debut lineup of Kepler, only 3 foreign trainees made it into the top 9, and they were in the lower end of the ranks. This is largely due to the fact that the voting in the finale changed from general voting to a one-pick system, and that Korean votes weighed more than international votes. There's a lot of xenophobia when it comes to evaluating these trainees, which is unacceptable. Net allowed for these trainees to come on these shows in order to pursue their passions, but they are letting them get treated poorly for the sake of views. What even was the point in including a whole other foreign group in your show if you're not going to give them the same respect as the Korean group? Although Boys Planet has just started, I've seen many xenophobic comments regarding some of the Chinese trainees, and I'm scared that these xenophobic comments will get worse as we near the finale. It's Net's job to protect the trainees and provide them with care, yet they've put them in harm's way with this program and its biased editing. Girl. I'm so upset with the way that the internet has so many people convinced that these performances were bad. Suddenly, everyone thinks they understand the skills of every trainee in this show because of a compilation that took the worst moments of every performance. These performances weren't even bad, and I think that some people forget that these trainees are constantly shooting for around 19 hours straight. It's difficult to watch that many people and shoot for that long, and these trainees also have to deal with nerves since they're being evaluated and filmed for television. Sure, there were definitely weaker performances, but every trainee wasn't bad. In fact, I believe that many of the trainees have grown over the past 3 episodes and shown viewers what they're capable of vocally, rapping-wise, and dancing-wise. It's hard to make a judgment on the trainees' skills when Net edits their fails in such an obnoxious way that is meant to humiliate them, or when Net only shows the same trainees over and over again. I think many of these demo stages were very enjoyable and well done, and they show us just how many captivating trainees were on this show. In fact, if this show is remotely similar to Girls' Planet in its stages, the songs and groups of trainees were most likely pre-picked by the production team. There was a group of Japanese trainees who literally had to relearn their song because their lineup changed almost an hour before they were set to perform. Viewers need to keep in mind that this show is carefully curated and planned by Net, and that there are so many more aspects to a performance. Also, I find it funny that people are getting mad at trainees for sounding breathy when they're singing and dancing because they're literally singing and dancing. Of course you're going to be out of breath since it's strenuous. I feel like many K-pop fans aren't used to live singing since lip-syncing is so normalized now in 4th-gen K-pop. I know there are some artists out there that sing live, but it feels like way less compared to the 3rd gen. My personal favorite demo stages were Beautiful Beautiful by Sung Han-bin, Shut Down by Hui, Kick It by Yu Hua-ji and K-Group, All I Wanna Do by Suk Matthew, View by G-Group, Nunu Nana by K-Group, Rush Hour by G-Group, and The Real by K-Group. I feel that these performances were the most memorable and showed us how talented the trainees are. Each performance consisted of so much charisma, and so many of these trainees had great stage presence and skill. Oh yeah! Ooh. Come on! I'm gonna be honest, I'm skipping over the Signal song evaluation because it took up so much time and nothing eventful really happened. All I have to say about the Signal song is that it's a fun cute song. I won't lie, it's been in my rotation since it released on Spotify, which is a bit embarrassing to admit, but it was a cute moment, what can I say? As for the concept evaluation or whatever this mission was called, so many groups ate. I personally loved G-Group, Kill This Love and G-Group, Love Me Right. I believe these two teams were the most balanced talent-wise and were able to foster a decent sense of teamwork, which is important with these Avengers teams in survival shows. As we've seen in previous seasons, simply having a team of talented trainees isn't enough to secure a point benefit or a win. Ultimately, the teams must work together and utilize each other's talents and uplift one another. I think that the Love Me Right team and Kill This Love team worked really well together, and it felt like I was watching already debuted idols. They had a lot of chemistry and you can tell they got along nicely. I don't really think one person in particular stood out in either of these performances since they blended so well together, but overall, both these performances were well done, fun to watch, and I've been rewatching them since episode 3 aired. This mission does make me feel bad for trainees like Hui and Hwanhee, though. I know that they're already debuted idols, but the episode showed viewers that the mentors hold them to a higher standard and that they're obviously feeling pressure to do well on the show. I believe that both of them are the most talented vocalists on the show, and with their experience no one comes close to them in skill. As for the other teams, I felt that Kill This Love K-Group was alright. Their dancing was really good, but compared to the G-Group, their performance felt a bit lackluster. You could tell that they were trying really hard, and I feel bad for saying this, but I didn't remember much about the performance. Nothing made me want to go back to their performance and rewatch it after watching it during the episode. I believe that all of the trainees on this team are very talented, but I didn't really feel much watching it. I'm still rooting for all of them though, because I know that they're all very skilled. As for the Ajun Ice groups, I felt that both did okay. I preferred K group over G group, but I must say that Sung is a very incredible trainee. I don't understand why more people don't talk about him because he's a very good vocalist and dancer. The way he hit those high notes left me in awe. He's been slept on since the first demo stage, and I'm still annoyed that the mentors initially gave him 1 star since he deserved so much more. With Ajun Ice K group, oh my goodness. This stage had so many talented trainees. I love Woongi and Seowon, so seeing them together was such a treat. Woongi did great as center, and Yoo Sunjin literally blew me away. He's such a talented vocalist, and I'm hoping he goes up in the next rankings. Both performances had some hiccups, however I do feel that K group had the stronger performance. I'm really looking forward to next week's performances. That teaser for Love Me Right K group made me so excited for their performance. I'm literally counting down the days until the next episode. I'm also excited for K group Backdoor since the group has so many talented trainees. Now onto the juicy stuff. Firstly, I'll list the people I'm sure are debuting. I believe that Sung Han Bin, Kim Jae-woong, and Han Yoo-jin have a debut spot secured for sure. These 3 have had the most pre-show hype and have built up a strong one-pick fandom. Everywhere I scroll online, I see so much Han Bin, Yoo-jin, and Jae-woong praise. Everybody loves them, as they should. Like I said, these 3 have garnered so much support in the past few months and have dedicated domestic and international fans, so I'm very sure that they'll debut. As for other contenders for the lineup, I believe that Kim Jimin, Jong Hao, Lee Ho-taek, Jae, Lee Dol, Suk Matthew, Park Gun-wook, Kim Tae-rae, Anthony, Hiroto, Lee Sung-won, and Kata are very strong contenders. I've seen that Jimin has a lot of support from Korean fans, but I'm not entirely sure if the support will translate into one-pick voting. This is the same for Jong Hao. I'm pretty sure Jong Hao will debut since he has garnered so much support since the show began, and he's loved by many. He was also the G group center for the theme song, which boosted his support by a lot. Episode after episode, he continues to highlight his versatility, which I believe will help him gain more fans. I'm just not entirely sure if his support will translate into one-pick voting during the finale. Lee Ho-taek is an interesting case, since he has a lot of support from Pentagon fans. However, he's been raking on the lower end of the top 9, and I don't know how many non-Pentagon fans support him. I'm not entirely sure if his one-pick fandom will be able to get him into the final lineup, but I'm pretty sure he'll have a pretty high chance of making it. As for Jae, I won't talk about his controversies, but he's a hit or a miss for many. He is ranked within the top 9, but I've seen many sentiments online argue that he would be better fit as a soloist. Jae is a very talented vocalist, but I've seen many people say that his vocal tone is unique and his overall image is very different from the other trainees. While he has decent support from his fans, I wonder if this support will persist or if it will translate well into one-pick voting. Lee Dol has garnered a lot of support from his Here I Am fancam that went viral during pre-show. Many voters love Dol for his charisma and charm, and find his dancing skills to be cute. While Dol has ranked in the top 9 before, I wonder if his support will continue to persist. Dol has garnered a lot of hate for ranking within the top 9, and with other trainees constantly rising and dropping in the ranks, it's difficult to say whether or not he'll be able to maintain his position. Suk Matthew is an interesting trainee as he initially ranked in the 30s prior to the release of episode 1, however, after episode 1 he shot up into the top 9. Matthew is a trainee who has very recently cultivated a large fanbase through his cute personality and sweet vocals. However, one of the reasons I'm not entirely sure about his place in the lineup is that I don't think he has a strong one-pick fandom. Many supporters of other trainees love Matthew, but this doesn't mean they'll prioritize him in the one-pick voting during the finale. Also recently, I've seen Park Gun-wook garner a lot of support and rise in the rankings. As of the last ranking announcement, Gun-wook was at rank 10. Gun-wook appeared on the survival show Wild Idol, which helped him build a fanbase and was given a preview video by Net before the show even aired. Gunwook is also a very skilled rapper and dancer, and is frequently discussed after the episodes air. It's hard to say whether or not he'll make the lineup, but I think he has a lot of dedicated fans that will help him get very far in the competition. Taeray is another trainee I believe has a good chance of making it into the lineup. He's cultivated a great deal of support, landing him a position in the top 9 during the first episode. However, with his lack of screen time, I don't know how well this support is going to persist. As Net highlights other trainees, it may be hard for him to maintain his position. As for Anthony has garnered a lot of support from being on different survival shows, just like Hiroto. Despite not being highlighted much, the two have a very strong, enthusiastic fanbase, which I think will provide them a lot of support during the finale. I'm just not sure if they'll have enough support to actually make it into the lineup. As for Lee Sungwon garnered a lot of pre-show hype. Online, he was one of the most talked about trainees by fans. He's a previous the 9 member, and he was constantly praised for his vocals and visuals. He's consistently ranked near the top 9, but I'm not sure if he'll have enough support to make it into the top 9. Lastly, for Keita is a former YG trainee who appeared on the YG survival show YG Treasure Box. He's also in a group called Cypher, and has garnered a lot of support throughout Boys Planet. He's cultivated a following through his smooth raps and sharp dance skills, and he's consistently ranked near the top 9. He also has a decent one-pick following, but I'm not sure if it will be enough during the finale. For many trainees, in fact, it's hard to tell how big their one-pick fandom is since it's so early in the competition. Once we near the end of the show, it'll be easier to tell who has the best chance of making it into the debut group, but for now, these are just my observations and guesses. Also, for anyone curious, here's a screenshot of who I've been voting for the past few weeks. Sung Han-bin is definitely my top pick. I've never loved a survival show center so much, but I love how he specializes in walking and tuteing, his personality, and his overall charisma. My last 2 places fluctuate quite a bit, but most of these are set in stone. I also went ahead and created a top 9 that I think could be possible. Half of this is just my ideal lineup and wishful thinking, but most of the people here I'm sure are going to debut. Let me know in the comments your ideal lineups and who you think has a strong chance of debuting. This has definitely been a beast of a video to make. I really love Boys Planet, so I've been itching to make a video on it for so long. I do enjoy this show a lot because it reminds me of past produce seasons and the contestants can finally perform in front of an audience. I do believe that there are so many lovely trainees on this show and I'm rooting for them. Boys Planet does have some flaws, but it also has very fun performance aspects. I'm looking forward to the new episodes, and I'm planning to make more debriefing videos if I have the time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and feel free to discuss anything that I talked about in the comments. I love talking about Boys Planet since I'm really interested in it now, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm sorry for disappearing for an entire month, but I hope that this lengthy video makes up for it. Let me know what videos you want to see from me in the future and have a lovely day.